I'd like to call the June 17th meeting of the Village Board to order. A roll call, please.
Trustee Takaoka gave prior notice that he would not be in attendance. Trustee Lundin? Here. Trustee Schenk?
Here.
Trustee Forster?
Here.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Here.
Trustee Markwart?
Here.
President Cook?
Here. Okay, we have a quorum, so the meeting is called to order. Would everybody stand for the pledge if you're able to? Okay, next item is citizens wishing to address the board. Is there anyone who would like to address the board on something other than what's on the agenda now? Sure, come on up.
Sorry, this is my first time doing this, so if I do something wrong, tell me. I'm Jane Braun. I live at 266 Southwick Court in Vernon Hills. It's on the east side of Big Bear Lake. And the reason I'm here is to talk about an intersection that is very formally drafted in this bulletin here that I've created that is a disaster. It's a two-stop sign intersection on Lakeview Parkway where Coventry Circle comes in from the west, Museum Boulevard comes in from the right, and there's a stop sign coming this way and this way. This traffic all has no stop sign. There are two policemen here who could probably verify how many accidents have been there. I live right here. I've literally witnessed 2 accidents happening at this intersection. There's 2 lanes going north on Lakeview Parkway with a left turn lane into Coventry Circle. There's 1 lane going south on Lakeview Parkway with a left turn lane going to Museum Boulevard. There's a left turn lane here so that when people are going south on Lakeview Parkway and they have no stop sign, they actually use the left turn lane to pass the people that are going slow in here, and they're then driving into oncoming traffic. There's also a crosswalk here, 1 crosswalk for this whole intersection. You have the mall right here, you have Big Bear Lake right here. There are a ton of walking paths, and there's a sign that says, State of Illinois, you have to stop if there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk. But there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes of traffic. So you have to have 4 cars. They're all paying attention, going different ways to stop for traffic. And I have heard so many screeches, cars stopping. The incidents that I've seen have been a car that stops and someone rear ends them. The other thing that I would love to have a stop sign here for on each end is that because there's 2 lanes of traffic going north, they narrow to 1 lane right before the railroad tracks that cross just south of Greg's Landing. This is a dragway. There are people racing down here. If you put up a camera, you would see 40 miles, 50 miles, 60 miles. It is just people taking off and trying to beat each other to the next narrowing down. And then the last thing I'd like to point out is the intersection north of here, there's 6 possibilities of cars at a T intersection at Greg's Landing and Lakeview Parkway. 6 possible cars and there's 3 stop signs. Here, there's 9 possible cars that could be at this intersection at any time, and there's only 2 stop signs. This exact configuration, 1 stoplight down at the intersection of Lakeview Parkway just north of 60, actually is a 4-way stoplight. So it seems like it would be a really good idea for the safety of the neighborhood and also with the condos on all 4 sides to cut down the traffic of the people that are just roaring through there. That's it.
Well, you're in luck. We're looking into intersections right now.
If you want to use this as a diagram, you're welcome to.
Well, I was just going to say you could give, you feel free to, although I'm going to turn this around, but we've been looking into some others. We've added some stuff at a crosswalk. In fact, just recently added one of those standing paddles in the middle of the road to the crosswalk at Indianwood, on Indianwood, just north of Hawthorn Parkway, and we're looking at a number of intersections near a couple of the schools and stuff. So, Director Manetta, do you want to address this?
We don't currently have any study at this area or looking at it particularly, but we can definitely look into it.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you want to leave that with Director Bonanno, we will definitely look into it. Thank you. Okay, any other citizens wishing to address the board? Yeah, come on up, please.
I've never done this before either, but, so bear me some grace. Good evening, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Pablo Acosta, and I live at 780 Court of Birch, just down the street from here. I'm 24 years old, a full-time student, and I work 40 hours a week to support myself and pay my rent on my own. I've been living in this apartment building since February 25th of this year, and I'm here today to report ongoing serious issues with my living conditions and a lack of proper action from my landlord. There has been a persistent roach infestation in this building. Despite my repeated concerns, the landlord has only used store-bought and sprays and traps, and no licensed pest control services have been brought in. I've done everything I can do to keep my space clean and roach-free, but this is far beyond and what any tenant should be expected to handle alone. I've submitted multiple work orders for necessary repairs. My AC unit isn't functioning properly. I have two. My window screens are damaged and missing. My apartment door is broken. Specifically, the bottom lock no longer works. I came home to one night and found it busted. I believe someone may have attempted to force their way in. This happened about 1 month ago. The landlord did come by while I was away last week and drilled into the door to try to fix the door and applied more store-bought traps, but the door still doesn't function properly and does not lock as it should. Even more concerning is that both the front and back doors of the building do not have working locks, which means anyone can walk in and off the street at any time. That puts every tenant in the building at risk. Back in March, I contacted a lawyer. They advised me to document everything and wait. Since then, I've done just that. I've taken photos, kept correspondence with the landlord, and maintained records of the issues. Unfortunately, very little has changed. I'm asking for your help today. I've done everything as a responsible tenant, but I don't feel supported or safe in my own home. I respectfully ask the village to assist with a building inspection or any enforcement to ensure basic habitability and security, particularly regarding the pest infestation, broken locks, and unaddressed maintenance concerns. Thank you for your time today.
Okay, hang on one second. Trustee Lundin.
No, it's for something else.
It's for something else? Okay. Anybody on staff we could look into it?
I'm Andrew Jennings, I'm the Community Development Director. Can you give me your name and phone number? I can have an inspector follow up.
Yeah, it's on the sign-up sheet, but my name is Pablo Acosta. My phone number is 773.
Yeah, just so you're not on, yeah, you don't want to, we don't want you to give out your phone number on television here.
It's public information. I didn't know I was on TV.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube if you want to.
Yeah, it is on YouTube, that's true.
What's the name of it?
Complex is called.
Last
one.
Sorry, I didn't see your light.
I'll say something.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Lundin.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you for that sign on Indian Wood. It's awesome, and people are really slowing down. So, thank you.
Yeah, the other thing it's forced people to do, especially northbound, is actually stay in their lane instead of straightening the road out. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
it has.
if they drive straight there, they're going to go right over that sign, so. Okay, any other citizens wishing to address the board? Yeah, okay, gentlemen?
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Arv Sheth. I'm a Vernon Hills resident. I've lived in Vernon Hills my entire life. I went to Aspen Elementary and then Middle School North, and now I'm going to be a senior at Vernon Hills High School. Some of you may remember meeting me last year when I was here with Sid for the Kid Outreach Initiative. For those of you that may not remember, the initiative was to promote hygiene equity here locally and internationally. And I want to thank you all for helping us out with that. And since then, Sid and I have raised over $15,000 and have donated to hundreds of kits to our local communities. So thank you. And Today I'm here to share with you guys a new initiative that I'm starting in Vernon Hills called Rise and Run. Some of you guys have the flyers, feel free to check that out. It's a community-driven run club here in Vernon Hills. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with the concept of a run club, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's when people meet up together to go for an organized run. And yeah, so some of you may be wondering why I started the run club or what's the purpose. And to answer that, I've been running for the past 3 or 4 years now. I run for the varsity cross country and track teams over at Vernon Hills High School. And running has become a big part of my life. I basically do it every single day. And I'm sure you guys are all aware of the physical benefits that come with running. It's a good workout, it's good exercise. But I think there are a lot of other mental and emotional benefits that don't get talked about as much, like the ability for running to just reduce your stress, how it helps you connect with other people, and just, for me at least, it's made me a much better person overall. And that's why I created Rise and Run. I wanted other people to experience that feeling and get that impact as well. And so a little bit about our run club. We have 3 different groups. We have a walk-jog group, an intermediate group, and an experienced group. All of the groups are led by myself and other Vernon Hills High School varsity level runners and alumni. So there really is a group for everyone. Whether you're a casual walker or marathon runner, you'll fit into one of our groups. And for our runs, we run through our beautiful Vernon Hills communities and our parks like Century Park. And so far this summer, we've had 2 meetups so far, and over 25 people have came out to each one. And we've had kids young as 3, 4 years old come out, and adults old as like 60, 70 years old come out. So this run club really is for all ages and all experience levels. And I encourage you all to come out there if you can. We meet every single Sunday from 8:30 to around 9:45 a.m. over at Lake Charles Park. And it's a great way to connect with the community, meet the kids, meet older adults. And I'm grateful to be working again with Mr. Petrillo, Mrs. Brandel, and Mr. Stordo to help promote the club and just get the word out. And hopefully, with their help, the goal is to create a greater sense of community here in Vernon Hills, and just to create more healthier and active culture here in Vernon Hills as well. So yeah, feel free, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. We also have a website. It's just www.riseandrun.org. All the highlights are on there, so feel free to check that out as well. Yeah, thank you all for your time.
Okay. Any board members have any questions?
I comment only the fact that I probably have hung my shoes up a little bit, but I'm trying to do a marathon in the fall. But I've done 27 marathons.
Including Boston.
That's a lot.
Done Boston. But the thing is that you're absolutely right. I started, I'm a sprinter, and I sure don't look like a long-distance runner. But it was a point of, I was in the automobile business. That was my relaxation. That was even my little time. So when you start doing a longer distance, I got my time to daydream. And it's truly amazing, and you're absolutely right. It's, I don't, also in my past life, I was a teacher, a physical education teacher, and punishment was to take a lap.
Yeah.
And you have to sort of put that on the side, but you're definitely right. The running aspect is by far, and the walking routines too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
my hat is off to you, and I maybe join you. So
That'd be amazing.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just want to say congratulations. This is
Thank
pretty
you.
cool. And I just heard about your other item that you did last year,
Yeah.
which was extremely cool also.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Your parents have to be totally proud of you.
Yeah, hope they are.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Well, and these 2 young men are examples of, I always get that question, what do I think, being a teacher, what do I think of kids today? And I mean, we're in good hands, There are some outstanding young people in our community. These are 2 prime examples, so thanks, guys. Okay, any other citizens wishing to address the board? Okay, then under official reports, under the president's report, first of all, District 128, great news. Congratulations to Libertyville High School's baseball team for winning the state championship. They beat McHenry the other day to win the state title. So it's I think only the 3rd or 4th state title won by a team from this county. So outstanding job by them down at state. So.
Once in the 70s and once not too long, by 1 run in the finals maybe?
Yeah.
Finally got it.
Yeah.
They won 4-1.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so congrats to LHS on that state championship. Second thing, we had our meeting that we have every 3 or 4 months between all of the local governments and the school districts, the fire department, our state reps and that. I had that meeting this afternoon, and Manager Timoney and I were there. Did you want to fill us in a little on that?
Sure. Yeah, for those that aren't familiar, one of the things that makes Vernon Hills a great community is the ability for all of our government agencies to work very well together. So as the mayor mentioned, all of the taxing bodies in Vernon Hills have a meeting about 3 or 4 times a year where a representative from each agency will be at the table, and it's an opportunity for all the groups to collaborate, hear what's going on with each respective agency, and oftentimes a lot of collaboration comes from that, opportunities for partnership and opportunities to work together on certain initiatives that maybe we didn't realize were there if we didn't get together. So today was one of those meetings. We were fortunate to be joined by Senator Adrian Johnson, Representative Dan Dittich. We had 2 of our 4 Lake County board members there, and then also representatives from the school district and fire district and Vernon Township. So yeah, a very big group, and we're scheduled to meet again this coming October. And we were actually invited last week. The mayor and I were able to speak on a panel at the EdRed conference. It's a superintendent's conference for educators, and we were able to share our experience here in Vernon Hills with the education community on how they could perhaps start the same initiative in their respective towns. So a really great program. I think it's been going on for about 10 or 15 years now in Vernon Hills, and happy to keep that going.
Okay, thank you. Another thing, we just had the other day, the grand opening of Hacienda Real, who took over the old Chili's location. And if you have not been there, you need to go there, because when you walk in the door, they've done an amazing job of remodeling it. And everybody that was there said a lot of great things about it. And we've got a lot of either have had some grand openings, or we've got a bunch coming up, some ribbon cuttings and stuff like that. Assistant Manager Petrola, did you want to talk a little bit about both of those?
Absolutely, Mayor. Thank you. So, Mike, first slide. So, as the Mayor mentioned, on Wednesday, June 11th, we welcomed Hacienda Real to Vernon Hills, and it was one of our largest ribbon cutting events. Amazing turnout by the community.
And you can see some of the pictures there, what the inside looks like. It's amazing.
Absolutely. We did a Facebook post sharing information on this event, and it took off with a record number of views and engagements. We had the analytics show over 400,000 views. So you can see there's an appetite for obviously new and exciting businesses in Vernon Hills. We wish Abraham Arachiga and his family great success. It's very, very exciting to see that corridor just come alive with that restaurant. In addition to that, we wanted to take a moment to share some upcoming events that are occurring in the next week. On Thursday, Mayor Cook and staff will be attending the GLB Ask the Mayor event. The mayor shared with me, this is his 4th presentation, but this will be his first as village president. So congratulations, Mayor Cook. Your appearance will be at Mickey Finn's in Libertyville this year. Every year we rotate it to a different venue, so it's their turn. This week, the mayor, Kevin, and myself had an opportunity to view the presentation put together by Lynn Brandel, and it is awesome. Kind of echoing on what Kevin just mentioned, the message captures on the spirit and the character of our community. It mentions the collaboration with our public sector partners, hits on our great schools, parks, and events, and it cites the numerous new businesses and ribbon-cutting events that were held in the last year, as well as some that we're looking forward to. What are we looking forward to? Next slide, Mike. Immediately after this event, also on Thursday, the mayor and staff will be heading to Hawthorn Row, as Nirvana is now located there. It's on the west end, and we'll be conducting a ribbon cutting at 3 o'clock. This new venue has outdoor seating, delivers an urban street side dining experience, and I think it's everything we hoped for about activating the Row. So join us as we celebrate Danny Caldwell's new location on the Row. This will be followed by 10 additional ribbon cuttings. The Hawthorn leasing team has been working hard to bring in inline stores, so we're excited by that. So, Mayor, bring your walking shoes, because you're going to be going up and down a lot of escalators and traversing throughout the mall. So we're excited to host these 10 new businesses as we do a ribbon cutting for them as well. The weekend, there's no break. The mayor will be attending pageant. As I mentioned at the last meeting, Karen Kalinowski shared the number of applicants vying for Little Miss, Junior Miss, and Miss Vernon Hills was very high. So that'll be conducted Saturday at 1 o'clock at the Sullivan Center. And then we invited all of the contestants and participants to the July 8th board meeting where there will be introduced, and the mayor will thank the outgoing queens. Also on Saturday, Hawthorn is working to continue activation of the row with their programming, and they'll be hosting a Pride event from 2 to 5 p.m. And this is going to be followed by the long-awaited Yard House opening. So we're excited to welcome Yard House with the corporate opening to the Hawthorn campus, ribbon cutting at 4:30 p.m. sharp. On Sunday, it's the Jim and Helen Heyer Fishing Derby. As most are aware, former trustee Jim Heyer was a World War II veteran, and Jim believed in a day of service, and along with his wife organized a community event giving our veterans and service members receiving treatment at the VA hospital a day of recreation in beautiful Vernon Hills. Today, the spirit of service lives on as this event is conducted and hosted by our very own VHPD. So join Mayor Cook, Chief Crease, and staff as we welcome veterans and service members to Big Bear Lake at 11 a.m. on Sunday.
Yeah, that's always a great event.
Yeah,
Always a great event.
absolutely, and we appreciate you being there. This is going to be followed by a few more events in the coming weeks. So we learned today that Roots Dance Studio is opening under the AMC Theater. They're adjacent to Pure Bar. So that north side of the mall is becoming very active, so that's exciting. The mayor will be at a Crescent Care home health care ribbon cutting at the 900 block of Lakeview on Wednesday, June 25th at 4 p.m. And then we learned also this week that a project that Andrew has been working on for quite a while, the Kitty Academy is going to have their formal groundbreaking on Tuesday, July 22nd. So Kevin and I were driving around and we saw the earth being moved for that new facility. So a lot of exciting things, and we're going to cover all this at the Ask the Mayor event. So it'll be a great opportunity for you, Mayor.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy month or two, and it's all great stuff. Lots of good new openings and
That's a great thing. Busy
refilling
weekend.
spaces.
I look forward to seeing you at all these events.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Then, next item would be village manager.
Yes, just a quick reminder for the board and the community. In July, we'll begin to enter the 4th of July holiday season and our village special event season. And with that, our modified village board meeting schedule. So just as a reminder, we'll be shifting from the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays in July to the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays on July 8th and July 22nd. And then, as usual, we only have one meeting in August. That meeting will be taking place on August 12th.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else from staff have a speaking part? No? Right? Okay, the next thing would be omnibus vote agenda. Items under the omnibus vote agenda are considered routine and/or non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. If any one board member, staff, or citizen wishes to have a separate vote on any item, it'll be pulled from the omnibus vote agenda and voted on separately. Is there a motion to approve items A through E?
Motion approved. Motion to approve items A through E.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any questions, concerns? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Schenk.
Aye.
Trustee Lundin.
Here, yes.
Trustee
Yes.
Forster. Aye. Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Aye.
President Cook.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, no unfinished business, but some new business. First item is approval and passage of ordinance 2025-081, an ordinance granting variations from Appendix C of zoning of the Vernon Hills Code to facilitate the development of a daycare facility, the Nest School at 401 West Sullivan Drive. Director Jennings.
Thank you. This item goes with the next item as well, which is 2025-082. They're prepared as two separate ordinances, and we need two separate votes. By way of background, the Nest is the contract lessee of the former Superior Ambulance Building at 401 West Sullivan. They are proposing to convert the existing 11,700 square foot building into a daycare and remove the north parking lot and replace it with a playground area. This item had two public hearings with the Planning and Zoning Commission. The recommendation ultimately of the Planning and Zoning Commission was to approve. The Committee of the Whole discussed the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation at their meeting on June 3rd, at which time the consensus of the committee was to direct staff to prepare ordinances for approval that were consistent with the Planning and Zoning Commission recommendations. So with that, you'd have two ordinances. The first is a variation ordinance. The variation ordinance has no conditions of approval in it. There's a second ordinance, which is the special use ordinance. That's the one that has all of the conditions as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission. There are representatives of the project team here if you do have any questions, and I'm happy to answer questions as well.
Any questions or comments from the board? Because we've spent a lot of time on this, so. All right, then is there a motion to approve ordinance 2025-081?
I move to approve ordinance 2025-081.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Aye.
Trustee Schenk.
Aye.
Trustee Forster. Aye. Trustee Lundin.
No.
President Cook.
Aye, motion carries. Second item then is approval and passage of ordinance 2025-082, an ordinance granting the special use permit and associated site plan, landscape plan, and architectural appearance for a daycare facility, The Nest, at 401 West Sullivan Drive. Are there any comments or questions about this one? Then is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve ordinance 2025-082.
Second.
Motion is second. Comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Aye.
Trustee Schenk.
Aye.
Trustee Lundin.
No.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Forster. Aye. President Cook.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. All right, third item is approval and passage of Resolution 2025-032, a resolution granting approval to operate an outdoor special event for the Chicago Bears to be located at Hawthorn Mall.
Do we have that up?
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Do I use this? Okay. Well, it's good to be back again. Many of you have seen. This is year 5, I believe. We did have camp back in 2020, but with no fans, thus no parking. So, but first off, President Cook, thank you for the opportunity, as well as board members and members of the village staff.
Let the people know who you are.
My name is John Bostrom. Sorry about that. I am with the Chicago Bears, and I'm here to speak about parking at Hawthorn Mall to obtain permission, as we have in the past, for fans to park out there. Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay, a little information. I'll be quick here. Training camp is held at Hallis Hall in Lake Forest, as it has. We intend to have fans at camp first day, July 25th, and the last day would be August 20th. It's possible those dates could carry on beyond the 20th because of rain. If we have rain out days, so we would seek to continue beyond the 20th, and I believe that's in the packet. The exact days, I think July 14th for setup, and then continues through the month of August, just for any changes in practice days and so forth. So there are 14 total days. Here is the calendar, all beginning late July, continuing into August, as I mentioned. There are only 2 weekend days. Otherwise, they are all days of the week, Monday through Friday. So that is the schedule there. Okay, as far as the needs, we're seeking 1,000 spaces. The parking lot time would be from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's when practices are held at 8:30 in the morning. Practice time is moved up a little bit with our new head coach, but we have not finalized some of the practice times, which you'll see in the calendar. And we'll communicate that with Andrew and staff once that's finalized. No overnight parking while at Hawthorn. And the fans, in addition to fans, we'll have our fan services team members who will park there, as well as our security subcontractor that works the campus at Hallis Hall. Shuttles will be provided again. Windy City Limo and Security P4 will help out at Hawthorn, as well as Bears Security working in conjunction with Village at Vernon Hills Police. Okay, this shows the location. We're in that northwest corner again. ADA parking is present near the Carson's building, that outlet building. That building is critical for us. It's used also for storage because we do take all the equipment down after each day and store it in there. It also could serve as a weather evacuation point if there is anyone left outside during inclement weather. Okay, and that's the access point for that. We use the ring road with access off 60 and access off Milwaukee, and then traversing the ring road to get to the main space. Okay, we will have some signage as we have in the past. These are examples, which is also in your packet. That will be taken down. Not shown here would be some signage that's out at the entry ports to Hawthorn Mall, the main roads, just more wayfinding type signage, similar to what you're seeing there. Okay, and this gives a description of the types of signs and so forth. Okay, so that's really it, trying to be brief. I know a lot of this is a recap from prior years, but
John, do you do parking on off-field drive at one of those, is there an area over there too where you shuttle people from? Or is it only from?
so they'll drop off at the end of the cul-de-sac, so people that may be familiar with Conway Park.
Yeah.
At the end is where we're located.
Right.
And there's a circle drive, so we queue the same shuttles
So they're
there.
only coming from this location? You don't have a
Correct, they go back,
remote
well,
parking somewhere?
they're gonna go within the park. So within Conway Park, there are businesses. Trustmark is one, Abbott, as well as a new provider.
So they could, public can park in those, or is that only?
Well, no, that is not
company?
public. Yeah, so those would be vendors who work for us
I
to
understand.
put on camp.
That's what I
Bears
thought I
staff.
saw last year, because I remember I went last year.
Right, yeah, so that's
I got it.
our folks who work with us,
Yeah.
Bears family members of players and so forth, so,
Okay.
yeah, so.
Well,
As
as
a
you
new
said,
coach.
yeah, no, as you said, we've done this for like 5 years now, and it's,
Been-
Chief, it's been nothing but good, right?
Well-oiled machine.
Yeah, it's worked real
Very
well the last few
comfortable
And
years.
there's been regular dialogue with Andrew and so forth and
Okay.
the staff. If there ever is anything that comes up, certainly bring it to our attention.
Okay, any comments or questions?
How's the new coach?
Excellent.
Great.
Hands-on.
Super excited. Hands up.
Let's win. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
That's right. But thank you sincerely for years prior and
Yeah, Director
potential
Dent.
approval here.
Just one suggestion. The third condition, I'd like to revise it just to reflect what was presented. The hours, it would read, the permitted hours of operation shall be 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. With requests for alternate hours to be coordinated with the village staff.
So with that change,
Yes.
all right.
And with that would be more of an 11:30 start time. We're not talking late in the afternoon or
right.
certainly not at night.
Everybody okay with the wording? Okay. Then is there a motion to approve Resolution 2025-032?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Schenk?
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Forster? Aye. Trustee Lundin?
Aye.
President Cook?
Aye. Motion carries and go
Thank you
Bears.
very much. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is approval and passage of ordinance 2025-079, an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Animals of the Village Code of Village of Vernon Hills. Chief Crease?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I want to brief the board and just give an outline and address any questions that the board might have. And even though this chapter is referred to animals, let's be clear, this is a set of regulations to help manage people that don't know how to manage animals. From time to time, we have issues primarily with dogs in town that might attack another animal or attack a person. And in the past, we've been fortunate to rely on Lake County Animal Control to handle the follow-up investigative matters when that happens. But it is necessary that we, as a village, can also control our own destiny and control these investigations, particularly when it's something that's especially sensitive to our community, and make sure that our people have all the authority they need, granted by state law, to conduct these investigations. So essentially, this code enables a determination of a dangerous dog and also a vicious dog. Vicious being a more serious issue. A dangerous dog is typically one that perhaps bites a person but doesn't cause serious injury, so there's no broken skin. A vicious dog is a dog that's been determined to be dangerous on 3 or more occasions, or seriously injures another person or another domestic animal. This allows us a lot of options to make sure the dog owner takes steps to ensure that the matter is rectified. So it might require insurance, liability insurance on the part of the dog owner. It probably is, it allows for and likely includes an observation period. Perhaps the dog needs to be spayed or neutered. And in the most serious cases, the dog can be ordered removed from town. So envision a dog that is vicious. The owner is not taking their responsibility serious, and we can actually order that dog to be removed from the village. It's a pretty extreme case. In more cases, you'd see a situation where we would order the owner to have the dog muzzled while on a leash anytime it's outside its own property, or a sign posted on the property, and these type of things. So again, this really mirrors state law. It's quite common in a lot of jurisdictions to have this ordinance. We found that our ordinance was lacking and wanted to bring it up to speed. So that's what's before you tonight.
Are there any comments or questions from the board?
I have a question. So as I'm reading through this, you know, there's 2 determinations, a vicious dog or a dangerous dog, and then a vicious dog where
more serious
based on,
right,
you know, number of times the dangerous dog is acted or immediately deciding that it's a vicious dog. So who makes the final, as a dangerous dog, is it the investigating officer that makes the determination? Or is it like Lake County courts?
No, it'd be us as a police department. So under my authority, me or my designee would make that determination. An officer would do the investigation. It's really pretty rare that this happens. So
I understand.
As chief, I would be involved in making that determination to say, hey, what steps are we going to take to make sure this doesn't happen again?
So our current ordinance, our current, these are all additional.
These are all
numbers,
new language. We had a prior
449 through 454. This is all new language?
Correct. We mistakenly eliminated some previous language that gave us some of these powers in a previous update, if you remember the Servalcat changes.
Yeah.
That was more of an oversight on our part. Yeah, this gives us the options to solve the problem at hand. In the last 6 months, we had an incident where a dog got out of a yard on 2 occasions, attacked other dogs, quite traumatized the dog owner in that case, and was very concerning that we really had to rely on an outside agency to solve that problem for us.
So when I just want to talk dangerous dog, because vicious dog, I think, is very clear. When you have a dangerous dog determination, after a dog has been determined to be dangerous, the owner may be instructed to comply with any or all the following requirements as deemed appropriate. So what are those requirements? Like, how do you determine what those requirements should or shouldn't be?
Sure, you got to look at the particular circumstances. For instance, to say that this dog has to be on a leash at all times. That's already provided for by our village code.
Yeah.
A sign has to be posted on their yard that there's a dangerous dog here. The dog may have to be spayed or neutered. Microchipping, perhaps evaluated by an animal therapist, perhaps a training program. And then again, there's additional options here. It's really to allow us to have the options to address the particular needs of that case. In all of these cases, the dog owner has recourse if they disagree with the determination of the police department.
There's an appeal process.
There's an appeal process.
And then there's also a not designation, but a list of, if somebody came onto my property and my dog, protected the property, that has to be determined, and that is kind of, that is.
Mitigating circumstance. It's rarely the dogs, this is why I started this conversation. This is about responsible ownership and what we can do to manage more responsible ownership of these animals, because it's often not the dog's fault. And so the code provides for those provisions where we want the investigating officer to take into account the fact that the dog was really just reacting and was not acting aggressive, but was rather reacting.
Right, and usually when a dog is in its fenced-in yard and somebody comes into your yard uninvited and then claims that they got bit by the dog, and then they say the dog got out.
Correct.
When there's no cameras, there's no witnesses other than the person getting bit, I'm sure you've had that happen before.
Our officers investigate
I just don't want
cases
the owner
every
of
day
the dog
with disputed information.
being, the dog at the end of the day is considered property, I believe, in the court of the law.
Correct.
The eyes of the court, but, it's just want to make sure that the dog is protected too. If they came into their home and the dog reacted negatively towards an intruder.
Absolutely, and you saw that in the provision, in the provisions of this. Very clearly spelled out that a dog shall not be determined dangerous or vicious in any number of circumstances.
And there's plenty, it's
Just
very-
because it bites someone doesn't mean the dog's done something wrong.
I just want people to feel more comfortable.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add, Mr. President?
Yes.
Trustee Shank, also in determining what measures to take relative to a dangerous dog, sometimes we will look to the help of an expert, a behaviorist, a certified veterinarian to assist in those close cases when we're having difficulty determining what measures to take. So that is part of the investigation.
And the owner can request that, not part of the appeal process, but just, they can request
It's not that the
that.
owner can request it, we can decide if it's a close call, that we're going to need that type of assistance to determine what's necessary. The owner has due process to go to the circuit court if they file an appeal within 21 days. So there is due process here, and there's plenty of notice, plenty of due process. None of this happens without a very clear notice to a dog owner.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else from any of the board members? If not, then is there a motion to approve the passage of ordinance 2025-079?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion is second. If there's no other comments or questions, roll call, please.
Trustee Forster? Aye. Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Lundin?
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Schenk?
Aye.
President Cook?
Aye, motion carries. Okay, and is that we have no committee of the whole,
No committee of the whole, correct?
no closed session?
We do have closed session, too.
We do have closed session?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For personnel and land acquisition.
Oh, okay. Then is there a motion to adjourn the board meeting and go into closed session for, you said, personnel and litigation?
Land acquisition.
Oh, land acquisition, okay.
So made.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lundin?
Aye.
Trustee Forster? Aye. Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Schenk?
Aye.
President Cook?
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned, and we will not be conducting any business when we come out of closed session.
Dave, you got to give him credit on that, but